I'm at Beachy Park in County Carlow, 35 minutes, Jim Bolger tells me, from his Coolcullen base in County Kilkenny. It's where he exercises his horses as well as keeping the yearling colts, some of whom you can see behind me. We're here though to talk about the QIPCO 2000 Guineas and Dawn Approach. Unbeaten, favourite for the first classic of 2013. Jim Bolger has told us all about him. Jim, the spring's been notoriously difficult for most trainers in the UK and Ireland. How has it treated Dawn Approach?
Well, I'd have no excuses anyway on the basis of the spring weather, because we had very little frost. You know, we never went below -4, and the gallops were never frozen. So he's never missed a day's exercise. And while it was quite cold there a month ago, it was very dry, and he came in his coat very quickly. Like he's had a good coat on him now for about 5 weeks. So weather-wise, I wouldn't have any excuse.
Obviously, he was ahead of his peers at 2. Will he stay that way this year, do you think?
Well, that's the big question. I'm hoping he will, but until he goes and shows that, we can't be sure. But I've been very happy with his preparation and happy with his attitude towards racing, and you know, he's not a horse that does anything with gusto, but when he's stoked up, he goes and does his job.
And you were thinking about making an entry in the Guineas Stakes at Newbury for him, which you didn't take up. Have you seen the other spring trials for the Guineas over the last week or so?
I have, yes, and well, the Greenham winner won very well, and Tornado at Newmarket was very impressive.
Would you think Tornado would be the biggest threat to your horse?
Well, I'd say I'd definitely rank him equal with whatever threat will come from Ballydoyle.
Now, it seems odd to ask this about a horse who's already won at Newmarket over the Rolling Mile track, but the dip, some experts last season suggested that Dawn Approach struggled with it slightly. You've replicated that here. How confident are you second time round? Earlier on you were saying that you can't really teach a horse to act in circumstances like that. They either do it or they don't.
Well, I think his lethargy would have been as much a problem as the dip itself. You know, if Kevin needed to, he could stoke him up a little bit earlier, and I'd say, you know, if he has to set about him before he comes down the hill, all will be well. And if he's idling as he comes down it, which I don't expect he will be, it's still not going to make any difference, because obviously if he's idling at that stage, he has plenty in the tank, and he picks up reasonably quickly after he's asked.
Now, obviously, he starts at a mile stamina-wise. He's got that second stage Derby entry, 1.5 miles, obviously. How do you see his mid to long-term future stamina-wise, distance-wise?
I don't know much more about that than you do. I wasn't even thinking of the Derby with him until Sheikh Mohammed suggested it after the Dewhurst, and I began to think about it then, from then on and over the winter, and I suppose because of his style of racing, he just could get 1.5 miles, and obviously a horse of his class, if he gets 1.5 miles, he's going to do serious damage.
And how do you approach that decision-making progress? Your partner's in the horse. I don't know quite what the percentages are, but obviously there's got to be input from both sides. How do you go about that?
Well, it'll be through dialogue. You know, if both of us will know more after the Guineas, and if it appears that he's going to get 1.5 miles, I'd say we'd be happy. Both Sheikh Mohammed and myself will be happy to go to Epsom.
And just to finish with, you've got other Derby horses as well from last year, notably Trading Leather, who looked very good on decent ground.
Yeah, well, there's always the Curra, and there's Longchamp as well. So, or not Longchamp, Sean T. So you know, we won't be short of derbies if we have the horses.
And Trading Leather will return at Leopardstown or in the Dante?
Yes, whichever one Lochgarman doesn't go for. Lochgarman is more likely to go to Leopardstown and then go for the Irish Guineas and then see what happens after that. And in that case then Trading Leather would go for the Dante or for a Derby trial in England.